Tonga, known for its friendly, church-going people, white sand beaches and great rugby players. But there's a darker side to life here, including a thriving black market in passports and drug smuggling.
If I was going to import drugs into Tonga, I'd either fly it through from a small plane coming from Samoa or somewhere there and drop it off and have the little yachts or the little boats pick it up. It's so easy. It's so easy in Tonga because the government is so corrupt.
There's a mentality here that it's okay if you can get away with it. You talk to people overseas and they'll tell you straight it's easy to do crime in Tonga.
On a recent visit to New Zealand, the Tongan Prime Minister claimed forged diplomatic passports sold by corrupt officials were being used to smuggle drugs into New Zealand. Pouhiva also told the United Nations General Assembly that his country was under an onslaught of transnational organised crime. We travelled to Tonga to dig deeper. One of Tonga's biggest scandals centred on this man. In 2010, the Speaker of the Tongan Parliament, Lord Tui Lakepa, was arrested on drugs and weapons charges after an investigation by Australian Federal Police into a cocaine trafficking syndicate. Tui Lakepa had allegedly been bribed to write a letter vouching for a Colombian drug boss to come to Tonga. The drugs charges were later dropped on a technicality, and he was fined about $6,000 for possession of illegal firearms. He remains an MP to this day. He's not only evaded serious charges, but prospered as a member of the ruling elite. We wanted to speak to Lord Tui Lakepa to ask him what right he has to represent the Tongan people.
I said, don't do the photo here.
It was clear that Tui Lakepa would be difficult to get hold of. The Prime Minister is upset that someone like Tui Lakepa can still be in Parliament.
He had a direct contact with the Colombian who was in charge of the trafficking of cocaine between Colombia and Australia and Asia.
Can I just ask, sir, is it a little bit embarrassing to have a man like that in your Parliament?
The way I look at it, he should not be elected to Parliament for obvious reasons. But yet he was elected. So that is a question for the nobles. It's not a question for the people.
For years, Tongan passports have been sold or traded, mostly to Chinese willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the documents, which give easier access to some countries. Several government workers have been arrested as part of an ongoing police investigation, but so far, no one at the highest levels of government has been held to account. There are people in Tonga who believe that charges should be laid against some of these.
Yeah, that is my hope. I think they will all be taken to court. I have documents with me where Tui Lakepa actually signed the issuing of diplomatic passport.
Lord Tui Lakepa was the current Speaker of the House. We went to ask him why he'd approved passports for Chinese people against legal advice while he was Prime Minister.
For selling passports, well, I don't know where he got the ideas from, because I'm sure he's used to those kind of things, investigating things about people that he doesn't like, and so it's a political thing. It's a political thing, but
yeah.
You know, I don't care about it. If I feel that I'm guilty, then I'm sure I will quit my job. But because I don't feel that,
You think you didn't do anything wrong?
What have I done wrong?
Lower level government officials have been arrested for passport fraud. A former immigration official says he gave 2 blank passports to a woman who offered him $30,000. He never saw the money, instead spending nearly 2 years behind bars.
I know for sure there are a lot of people, and I know them. They are doing the same thing inside the immigration.
Are they more senior than you?
Yeah, they are more senior than myself.
He also believes the woman who asked him for the passports was working for someone in the government.
If I will give you some of the name of the people, who knows, they will present someone else to come and wipe out us.
We tried again to get hold of Lord Tui Lakepa, but was still having no luck.
He's not here.
Hung up.
Who's trying to find Sione?
Civil servant Sione Ahohako recently pleaded guilty to a charge of obtaining a passport by falsely declaring he knew someone who didn't exist. My colleague Blair Ensor went to see him.
Like these passports, they give people easy access into countries to be able to smuggle things like drugs and other things like that. Are you aware of?
Nah, I didn't think about that.
What about now? Do you feel a bit?
I feel guilty and feel like betraying your country, betraying your own people, betraying your wife, your kids, your son, your family. I feel terrible, man.
Are you scared about going to jail?
Nah. Whatever circumstances or situation happened to me, doesn't matter.
So do you think you deserve it?
I deserve it. I really deserve it because I did something wrong, something bad.
The question of how can I get a benefit, and it doesn't matter if it's legal or not legal. I mean, to me, that's the seed of corruption being sown in there.
Journalist and political activist Kalafi Moala was jailed in 1996 for contempt of Parliament. He has spent his career fighting to uncover corruption and abuse of power.
One of the frustrations in Tonga is the fact that when a violation takes place, it seems so hard to prosecute it, to follow through and bring about justice. It ranges from being stopped at the checkpoint and you kind of pull out some money, give it to the officer, to something far more serious like the passport sales or dealing with drugs.
Lord Fusitu'a is chairman of the Standing Committee on Anti-Corruption and has been trying to get an anti-corruption commissioner appointed, to no avail.
That's one of the things that I am advocating for, is for our constitution to be amended so that an impeachment process would go to the anti-corruption commissioner rather than be decided by a show of hands, because all you need is enough mates in the house and you can get away with anything.
A lot of the crime in Tonga has been blamed on deportees who've been sent home after committing crimes abroad. One such man is Sione Nawao, who spent most of his life in the US but was deported after serving 14 years for manslaughter.
And when they're brought here to Tonga, they're just thrown out there without psych meds, without anything. So they go through, and a lot of them walking around town. So I think if they recognize who the deportees were and catch them when they come off the airport, so they can give them that extra hand and school them on what's going to happen to you if you don't be careful in your first week or two here.
He says it would be a simple thing for deportees to call on old crime connections.
Because we still have a lot of family and friends and homeboys that are in the gang there that will support us.
Our efforts to speak to MPs caused quite a stir, Tui Lakepa and others accusing us in Parliament of molesting and harassing them. We finally tracked Lord Tui Lakepa down to a plantation outside Nuku'alofa.
Well, why did you get involved with that Colombian drug lord? Why?
See, you guys come to my house and you guys harass my family early in the morning.
I know, but
why you guys do that?
Why did you write that letter for the Colombian man?
First, and I'll just let you guys come and interview me.
Okay.
So you make me angry, so I don't want you guys angry. And I don't want to say anything. Don't want to end the interview. No comment.
We couldn't help feeling that although Tonga has made progress in its fight against corruption, it still has a long way to go. It's all very well locking up working people, but to achieve true democracy, it has to bring corrupt leaders to justice.